Hey boys, how's it going? I guess Otis isn't getting up. Hi Oliver. Hey folks, how's it going today? We're out in the shop here. Just got done gluing a crack up on this Yamaha AE500 jazz guitar. And I just wanted to go over my little clamp setup here and just give you guys a few tips on doing this kind of stuff. Now, it has a crack right here across the heel. Pretty good one. I did a video the other day of this, and there's footage of the break. So it cracked along the fretboard extension too. As you can see, it's cracked right there. I can push that in. So we'll probably glue that. I may run some thin super glue down through here and then take an artist brush and some gloss black paint and just cover that back up as good as we can. And we're not looking for perfection here, just structural integrity more than anything. Now, this is kind of a funky clamp system here, but I just got this sitting on a stool, and we got a wood clamp here, obviously, and I've got two guitar neck stands that you'd put under the neck of your guitar when you're working on it. This here is a little piece of wood that I use for clamping neck breaks and stuff, but I'm using it as a shim right now to straighten the clamp up. But it's enough so it won't tip over or anything, and I've just got some cork padding on each side of the clamp. Now, I didn't use any padding on this. This is a piece of ironwood that I had that's really flat and square, and I didn't put a ton of pressure on this anyway, and I didn't move the clamps around a lot. I just took my glue pump here, which is something I made. It's just got a primer ball. I gotta go wash the glue off it now, and a piece of tubing and a suction cup, and I use that to I put some glue on and put that suction cup on and squeeze that and push the glue in there. I've got videos of that as well, but it was just too much to try to document this while I was doing it. Just only having two hands, it was all hands on deck to get this set up and, ready for glue. Just a easy little repair, but a lot of prep work. That's really the point here is, if you do this kind of stuff, dry run everything. Get your clamps set up, get your block in, everything that you're going to use, and do a dry run before you glue anything. It happens sometimes, you don't want to pump glue in there and then start looking for clamps and blocks of wood. Get your stuff ready. Position the instrument so you're going to, it's work-wise like it is, so you can work on it. Still, even doing it nice dry run, I knew it would work. It was still kind of fumbling, when I was putting this on. But I got it after 2 or 3 tries, and should be all good to go. But again, I didn't move these pieces of wood around a lot. I just basically set them on and let the clamp just pinch them. And it shouldn't matter the wood at all. I didn't take a ton of pressure on it, or apply a ton of pressure, I should say. So we'll see what happens. I glued this with some Titebond Express, 10 minutes it says. I'm not really sure about that. It was cheap though, $1.49. You couldn't beat it. I was going to use some fish glue here, but I figured I'd try this and see what it looked like and how easy it is to clean up, which wasn't a big deal, just a damp cloth and some water, and it wiped right away nice. So did leave a little residue, but again, just take a damp cloth, a little water, that'll come right off. Even guitar polish will take it off, I'm sure. So we're going to let this dry up here, and then we'll take the clamps off and see what it looks like, and just take it one step at a time. Now, I shouldn't have to do any sort of finish work to this. Hopefully it drew the wood down tight so it stays there. and we'll just leave the crack. I'm not really worried about it. I just want the wood to stay fastened together. That's the whole key here. So we'll just take it one step at a time, like I said, and we'll concentrate on the other side after we get this one finished up. All right, I wanted to add, this is 10-minute clamp time, so you do have to let it dry a lot longer than 10 minutes. I didn't want to mislead anybody. Okay, so we got the clamps off. It's been a day. I let it sit for a day. You can see a faint little crack line there. And you can see where it's cracked up there, but I got most of it buttoned up pretty good. Now I'm going to show you how I kind of go over these cracks, just for aesthetics and finish in a second here. It's pretty simple. And we touched that side of the guitar up as well. This piece did not want to move, so I just kind of put some glue around it, and we took a little bit of black paint and just covered that up a little bit. It's still kind of rough looking, but at least it looks black, and it's sort of finished. I'm not going to get too crazy with that. The owner really doesn't care too much. As long as it's functional, that's really all we're after here. So I'm going to show you how I do this, and hopefully this helps you guys. Okay, so I'm just using a sharp point here. And then what we're going to do, we're going to just dip it in this paint. All right. I got to switch hands so I can do this with my right hand, so bear with me. Okay, so what we do is this. We're going to come over here. We're just going to look right where that crack is, and we're just going to put a little paint right there. And you just got to be patient. It will kind of lay down on its own. And I don't worry too much about getting a little bit of extra, because I'm going to buff this off after anyway. So, for instance, if you come up here on this crack, I'm just going to put a little bit right there. And I got to get some more paint. Okay, we should be looking pretty good here this trip. So, yeah, that's the effect we're looking for. So that's basically how I do this. Now, you could probably do this with an artist brush as well, but this works pretty good for me. It's a little tedious, I must say, but again, it's going to look better than having a big crack in your guitar at the end of the day. So, like I said, just take your time and just kind of draw that paint in there with that point. And the results are not too bad, really. Like I said, I've been doing this like this for a little while, and it seems to work pretty good. I don't want to get any more paint on there than I have to, because like I said, I'm going to end up buffing this off at, when we're all said and done here. So that's really my approach to hiding these cracks. I gotta get a little bit more paint there. Okay, sorry about the camera angles here. I'm doing this one-handed and just trying to hold this as steady as I can. I'm actually doing this through the camera viewfinder here, so it's not exactly perfect. I could do a lot better job off camera. I'll just say that. All right, I'm gonna get one more little piece here, and I just want to kind of get this right here as good as I can. This is really the biggest eyesore. So, all right, maybe one more little drop of paint right there, and that should probably do it. Now, there is a little bit more of a crack still visible here. I'm just going to draw a line right there with my little pointed edge here. You could do this with a nail or a bread tie or whatever you got kicking around. I mean, it doesn't have to be a special tool, but this is how I like to go about it. And I'm just going to let that paint kind of rest there. I'm going to move back down to this spot. So we still got a little bit of a visible crack right here. Just want to kind of blend that paint in a little bit. Okay. A little bit more down here. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wet my finger down. I'm just going to swipe it across here really quick, okay? Just like that. Now I got a little paint on my finger, that's okay. I'm going to do that one more time. And I'm just going to go away from the crack that time, okay? I'm just trying to really just kind of push the paint into the crack. Now don't worry if you get a little extra paint on there, you can buff that right off. Now I can still see a little bit of that crack right there, so just lightly with my finger. I'm going to come in on the edge a little bit, and I just want to get that ridge out of there. There we go. Now that's okay. I mean, I can still see one little spot right there. Maybe we'll just touch some paint on there right now and get that cleaned up. Again, I'm just trying to work the paint into the crack as good as I can because I just want the paint to kind of level it. So one more time, I'm going to wet my finger down here a little bit and just give a quick little wipe across here. Okay. Now, I take my cloth and just kind of go along the edge of that just so I can smooth this transition up right here. I'm going to let that just kind of sit there and dry, and what we'll do next is we'll buff that out and see what shows up for cracks, and just trying to clean up any more that we see. I actually may take and doctor that little section up right there right now. Oh, I gotta get a little more paint. Okay, so I'm trying to get this in focus. So right in there. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna wet my finger down, give it a quick wipe, and I'm just gonna leave that alone right there. Now we've hidden a lot of it. I can still see some up here too. I may come back and get that afterwards. We'll see what it buffs out like and just kind of go from there. I mean, I'm not looking to make the whole thing disappear, but, you know, I'd rather have it so it kind of looks like a finished crack instead of a joint crack, you know. And as, you know, like before in the previous videos, I told you I've already repaired this, so it's not going to go anywhere, so the more pleasing to the eye we can get it, the better it is. Again, now this side is kind of rough and flaky, but I'm not going to get too involved in that. I know it's solid. I glued it. I put some paint over it. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. That's my my approach to fixing these. Now that might look a little rough and a little hazy, but when I get done with it, it'll be shining just like that stuff. So hopefully I got most of the crack kind of hidden, and we'll just see what it looks like when we get done. Okay, so we got her all buffed up. Looks pretty good. It certainly looks a lot better than it did. I can see some faint ghost lines there, and you know, over time, if I kept working on it, I could eventually get that to disappear, but that's pretty good for what it is. So we're just going to run with it like that, and that'll take care of this one. I think what I'll do next is just give it a good polishing, clean everything up, and we'll get a good look at it and see what it looks like all cleaned up. It needs to get kind of buff, so we might as well do that, and that will take care of this one. Alright, so we're going to try some of this GHS guitar polish. I've been using this lately. It works pretty good. Similar to like, you know, like car wax, that kind of effect. You wipe it on real good and let it dry for a minute and wipe it right back off. Now one thing I like to do I like to work on one area. I'll take a pretty good size area too, like this. And I'll just keep rubbing as long as my cloth is wet, damp, and I'm still getting haze coming off the guitar finish and haze going on. You know, as long as it's clean and you're not feeling anything weird under there. You don't want to be scratching it, obviously, but just keep watching what you're doing. Look at the little trails that your cloth leaves behind. And I'll just keep rubbing that spot. Now the cloth's starting to get a little dry and it's rubbing a little harder, so that's about when I'm going to stop. Okay, now that right there just assures you that it just got buffed. So let that dry for a minute, let it haze over again. Now take the dry side of your cloth or a dry cloth and hit that again. That looks just like brand new. Wow, this has probably never been cleaned since it was new, you know. I run into this constantly. Now look at that. That's beautiful. I know it's kind of tricky to see in the light, but you can tell right there. Now let's get up here on this where it's never been wiped. There you go, right? And you get back here. Just one little quick buffing. Boom. Just like new. Alright, I'm going to keep going. Okay, we got it flipped right over here. This is what the back looks like before we even get going. Never seen a cloth by the looks of it, so we're going to give her some more polish and see what happens. Okay, here we go, guys. I'm going to put the polish right to her. I'm going to cover a big area this time and try to get the whole back. And just keep working it in, like I said before. Just keep rubbing till that cloth starts to feel sticky and dry, and then you know you're pretty much as far as you can go. Go a little bit more if you can. I know your arms are going to get tired because it happens. But push right down hard and rub that just as hard as you can and try to get that kind of buffing, you know, for you. Let that polish do the work. Just apply a little pressure as you do it and keep going. When you're going to feel like you're going to want to stop, go a little bit more. That's how I do it anyway. You see a bad spot, stop and concentrate on that spot for a minute. You know, keep looking as you're doing it. Look behind your cloth, you know, and see what's coming off. Okay, let that dry and just kind of haze over for a minute. And let's take a peek at it. Alright, so it's just mostly film on there from the polish right now. So the next step, we're going to give it a nice dry cloth and wipe that right off. Oh yeah, that looks good. Looks really good, actually. It's amazing when you get instruments in, especially, you know, you pick up a Squier, an Epiphone. A lot of the average Joes that want to start playing guitar buy them. You know, even young guys will buy them and play them and never wipe them off or anything. They're just dirty usually, and you get a good polish. Put a little elbow grease in and buff it. And there you have it, folks. So we'll do the back and sides next. And this thing's going to look just like brand new again. It really is. And we got that heel all straightened out. So this will be a good playing guitar. Now I know I just put a lot of work into a $250 guitar, right? Well, the reason I did is because this one rings like a bell, and it's just a really solid guitar all the way around. It really resonates and plays really easy, and that's how I do it, you know. This isn't mine, but My cousin does the same thing that I do. He hunts for them. When he finds a good one, he keeps it. When you know, you get to a point, sometimes you have to sell a few off to make money, obviously, and whatnot. But you know, these ones you can kind of hang on to because you can get them pretty reasonable, and it's just a matter of putting a little effort in there, and you got a nice playing guitar for basically nothing. In his case, this was nothing. A friend of his gave this to him, so again, it was worth putting any effort into it. So, you know, he wasn't even going to fix the crack. He said, I'm just going to play it, but I did offer to fix it and shoot a video on it, and it was a fun little project. It took quite a while to do, actually more than I thought it was going to take, but, you know, sometimes that's just what it is. You have to stop and let stuff dry and take a step back, think about your next move, that kind of thing. So anyways, that'll be the end of this one. I still got a Telecaster to go over the electronics in that belongs to him as well. So I'll start shooting some videos on that journey as we go along. Okay, folks, well, thanks for sticking with me on this one. This was a little bit of a chore, actually, more than I thought it was going to be, like I said, but it was still fun to do, and you always learn something when you do stuff like this. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you real soon. Be good. Okie doke.